Artists that inspire you. What are some artists that
musically or
anything? Just paintings even.
Paintings, I often enjoy a more abstract art. I don't like literal paintings. At this point, we're surrounded by a lot of Southwestern art, and art like this doesn't quite inspire me. I mean, I'm much more inspired if I would see a plain white canvas with just one stripe of red, because it would be like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean to me? What does that mean to you? Because it's going to mean two totally different things to any one of us. We're going to get a completely different emotion from something so simplistic, where if you have something where it's a bottle of wine on a table, well, that's now automatically creates a setting, and, you know, I mean, for everyone, they'll think, okay, a bottle of wine, it's not, you know, but if you have something very simple and has strong contrasting colors and images that don't really represent anything, it can almost represent something really important to you. You know, just like they have the ink blots, you know, that's how I find with, at least art-wise. Musically, I feel a lot of bands a lot of times inspire me, like Journey and The Who, the Beatles, of course. People who kind of revolutionized music and wrote things that maybe, like, at the time were big, but like even now, like, get better with age. It's like almost like you find more and more little pieces within their music that are just like, wow. It's almost like watching Citizen Kane. Like, a lot of people call it the best movie ever. And oftentimes it really is considered the best movie ever, because if you really break it down within the 10 parts of filmmaking, you find that there's new things you see every time you watch it that you're going, oh wow, I never thought of it that way, but now I can see it this way. Like there's a scene at the end where he's down in his house and he's standing by the fire, and all of a sudden there's this big fire thing. And for years I just thought, oh, he's just standing by the fire, and all of a sudden, like, I realized he's in hell. This is his hell right now. This is what this whole scene means. This is the reason why he's here, you know? And that's sort of the driving force there. So stuff like that inspires me. Film-wise, I enjoy a lot of the older films. One that comes to mind is A Streetcar Named Desire. Hugely important film. I mean, Marlon Brando's performance in that is very inspiring to me as an actor, because I can only hope to have that animalistic sort of thing. It's almost like, if you ever watch him, he's almost like a gorilla in this movie, you know? It's like you can see his knuckles just like against things like this, and the way he holds himself, and it's like really interesting way to act. Like almost like he was trying to churn an animal through, which would make sense because his character was so raw and so, you know, brutal in a way, you know? So stuff like that inspires me a lot too.
That's pretty awesome. I'm at a loss for questions now. That's freaking good answers. Oh my gosh. Who would you be most nervous to perform in front of?
Steve Perry. Because I often do Journey a lot, because I mean, I'm a really high tenor as a singer, and I love doing, you know, like Open Arms and Faithfully, and, you know, those sort of songs, those like really beautiful melodies that he does. And even when I just sing in front of an audience, I get really kind of like, will they love this? Because they're so used to hearing Steve Perry's version, you know, that's so amazing that I think if I ever met him, I would just be like, oh. Because I feel vocally one of the most incredible male singers I've ever heard in my life. Like, to this day, like, I listen to his music and it just inspires me. Like, I can sit there and listen to a Journey song and cry like a baby. You know, because it's just that. And it's interesting because the older you get, certain songs you find mean even more to you because you go through so many more life experiences. You know, like, a lot of people when they're younger, they have like a relationship here and there, but it's like, when you've gone through a relationship for years and years and you've spent time like nearly in almost marriage, you know, and that breaks up, all of a sudden, like a song like Open Arms touches you in such a different way because you go, here I broke up with someone and I want them back. You know, sometimes you wish you could be there, open arms for them, but, you know, and so it's things like that that can happen with music and art, that as you get older, that's why you see more. Because your own experiences expand.
Right. Favorite thing you've ever done? Like favorite song, show, pick one. Just favorite thing you've ever done.
I would say one of my favorite songs to sing, surprisingly, actually goes back to my roots of opera, and that's Que Gelida Manina from La Boheme. That's an incredible song. Rent, which was based off of La Boheme, it's Light My Candle was based off of that song too, because in the song he's saying your hands are so cold, you know. Que gelida manina se lasci riscaldar, cercar e giura. So I really enjoy doing stuff like that. People are always interested when I start singing opera. They're like, I didn't expect that out of you. But I mean, it's one of those songs where it's like one of those songs where it's like the 6 minute, just like it's such an emotional song because here's this woman who is a prostitute and he's trying to help her out and stuff like that, and so it's this interesting little moment of chemistry where the two characters really do connect in a nice way. So I've always enjoyed singing that. Acting wise, one of my favorite shows to be in, surprisingly, was California Suite by Neil Simon. He's an incredible writer, such great comedy, and a lot of his stuff is very slapstick, and it's very physical comedy. So I can kind of infuse myself in that way. There are some comedians who are very reserved and a little bit more intellectual. I'm kind of more of a brute when it comes to the comedy, and that's why I enjoy the slapstick, because I can throw that physicalness with my body and make it funny. Musical, favorite musical so far would probably have to be Johnny Guitar here at Theater Works.
Oh my gosh.
Such an incredible, funny, interesting show. And I mean, it involved a little bit of everything. You had your Western 50s, and then you had your comedy, and then you had some great singing, and it had such an interesting plot that, you did want to know what was going to happen at the end and see how it ended and stuff. I mean, the movie itself is so campy and horrible. It's like, but it's so horrible that it's good, and the writers of the musical realized the funny parts in it and made it that way, so it would actually be a really good Broadway show, surprisingly, So I enjoyed that a lot.